Let's talk about ego. How it can be our biggest asset one day and our greatest downfall the next. In small doses, ego can drive us forward, motivate us, and give us the confidence to chase our dreams. When it gets out of hand, it can hold us back in more ways than we realize. Ego can blind us to our own weaknesses, keep us from asking for help, and make us dismissive of people who could be teaching us something valuable. I started thinking about this recently after a conversation I had with someone younger than me. We were chatting about creating content in the same niche. And he's much further along on this journey than myself, and the insight this person offered blew my mind. They gave me tips, shared their perspective, and taught me things I hadn't even considered, despite the fact that I had more years on this planet. And that's what got me reflecting. How often do we let age or background stop us from learning? How many blessings have we missed because we thought I already know better, or I don't need anyone else's advice? And ego is tricky because in some situations we need it. Some situations it's a real booster. If you're working on something tough, a bit of ego can help you push through the doubts. It can make you think, nah, I got this, I'm capable. And that's good. We all need a boost of confidence from time to time, but the line between healthy confidence and overbearing pride can be thin. Before you know it, you cross into a space where you're so convinced of your own competence that you stop listening to others. You stop learning, and worst of all, you stop growing. I think we see it happen a lot as people get older. There's an idea that automatically with age comes wisdom. Now, of course, don't get me wrong, life experiences teach us a lot, but it doesn't mean we have nothing left to learn. In fact, the older we get, the more we realize how big the world is and how many different perspectives exist. Yet for some people, the ego inflates with each birthday. It whispers, "You've been around longer, so you must know more." And while experience matters, no one person can know everything. There's always new technologies emerging, new cultural shifts happening, and fresh voices entering the conversation. And don't get it twisted, age isn't the only factor. Sometimes we judge people by their background, their accent, or their social status. You might think they don't come from where I come from, what could they teach me? And that's the ego talking. Truth is, people from all walks of life have valuable insights. Just because someone's path doesn't look like yours doesn't mean they can't offer wisdom or a fresh perspective. Often those differences are exactly what makes their viewpoint so valuable. And I'm not ashamed to say that there was a time I didn't think this way. I can't tell you how many moments in my life I've stupidly avoided asking for help. My ego would kick in and I'd convince myself I'd figure this out on my own. Because the idea of admitting I needed support felt like admitting defeat. And what did that lead to? Hours of wasted time trying to piece things together, only to end up with something that's far below the standard I set myself. Then eventually, I swallowed my pride, asked for help, and surprise, surprise, things clicked into place. The work got done faster, smoother, and about 100 times better than my solo effort. As it turns out, putting on my big boy pants and asking for help wasn't weakness. It was actually the smartest move I can make. And that's a common scenario, right? Our ego tells us that asking for help is a sign of weakness. It makes us feel like we're less than capable. You're less than capable if you can't do everything alone. But that's not real strength. That's stubbornness. True strength comes from knowing when to stand on your own and knowing when to lean on others. In fact, collaboration often yields the best outcomes. precisely because it combines different skill sets and viewpoints. Genuinely think about it. Nobody becomes a master chef, a top athlete, or a brilliant entrepreneur in complete isolation. They've got mentors, coaches, or peers that are guiding them and inspiring them along the way. Then there's another angle to consider. Sometimes our ego leads us to shut down opportunities before we even realize what we're missing. Let's say someone younger than you, like in my experience, offers advice. If your gut reaction is to say, what could they possibly know that I don't? You might never open yourself up to hearing them out. And who knows, maybe they have the knowledge you need to expand your world. But your ego might stop you from ever tapping into it. And on the flip side, there's a certain beauty in being humble enough to learn from everyone. If you approach life thinking, I can learn something from anyone, you shift into a mindset of perpetual growth. You also open yourself up to meeting people on a deeper level, hearing their stories, understanding their experiences, and seeing how they tick. That kind of openness can lead to incredible connections, unexpected collaborations, and more blessings than you could imagine. But how do we keep our ego in check? One way to do that is self-reflection. Ask yourself, when was the last time I listened more than I spoke? When was the last time I changed my mind because of something someone else has taught me? If you can't think of those recent examples, that might be a sign your ego is running a bit wild. Another approach is to actively seek out conversations and experiences that challenge your beliefs. Let's say you only hang around people who agree with you or follow the same content that reinforces your worldview. You're not giving yourself a chance to grow. It also helps to admit what you don't know. And I don't mean just saying it to yourself, although that's of course a good start, but I mean openly acknowledging it. There's a freedom that comes with saying, I've not heard of that, teach me more. And the funny thing is, you'll find that most people actually want to help. So chances are they'll respond well when they see humility and curiosity. They'll be more likely to share their story, share their knowledge, and respect your willingness to learn instead of diminishing you. A lot of the time, it elevates you in their eyes. Ego, on the other hand, shuts that door completely. And ego doesn't just affect our relationship with others, it affects our relationship with ourselves. When we're caught up in the idea of we know it all, we might stop investing in our own personal development. I read another book if we think we've already got the answers. I attend a workshop or a seminar if we believe no one can teach us something new. That complacency is where growth starts. There's also a spiritual element to ego. Many traditions talk about how ego blinds us to the greater truth. When you see that truth as a universal connection or enlightenment or simply potential we all have to keep evolving, ego blocks us from it. We become so wrapped up in our own perspectives that we can't see beyond it. We turn away from opportunities that might uplift us because we can't admit we need them. So let's take a look back at the idea of blessings. Whether you're spiritual or not, think of blessings as open doors in front of you. Opportunities, insights, relationships that can enrich your life. Ego can cause you to walk right past those doors, refusing to acknowledge they exist. Or it can make us shut them ourselves because stepping through means admitting we don't have all the answers. So in a very real sense, unchecked ego can cost us the blessings we could have received if we were a bit more open-hearted and a lot more open-minded. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people suffer in silence because they're too proud to ask for help. Ego can hurt us more than help. It's like being stuck in a hole with a rope right next to you, but refusing to use it because you think you can climb out on your own. It's stupid and illogical. So, how do we move forward in a healthier way? First, you got to recognize that ego itself is an evil. It can genuinely be a source of self confidence, a driver for success. It can make us proud of our achievements, which isn't, of course, inherently bad. But the problem arises when we let that pride overshadow our personal growth and disconnect from others. We need balance. Enough ego to believe in ourselves, but not so much that we become unteachable. Next is practicing gratitude and humility. Gratitude for the people who share knowledge with us, for the lessons we learn from unexpected places. Humility to acknowledge what we don't know and or we never will. There's a freedom that comes with that. It allows us to be lifelong students, always discovering what life has to offer. Next, find yourself around a diverse circle of mentors, friends, and colleagues. Seek out people from different age groups, cultures, and professions, and socio-economic backgrounds. Listen to them. Ask questions. Let them challenge you. Sometimes it's not about finding someone older and more qualified. It's about finding someone with a perspective you never even considered. You'd be amazed how often that perspective can spark new ideas or solutions to problems that you've been stuck on. And finally, don't be afraid to check yourself. Get yourself thinking, I already know this. Pause and ask, do I really? Could there be another angle here? If you find yourself dismissing someone because of their age or background, remind yourself that wisdom can come from anywhere. The moment we shut someone down because we think we're above them, we might be missing out on knowledge that can actually elevate us. So I want to circle back to that conversation quickly before I end. The story I mentioned with the younger content creator. The amount of insight I gained was incredible, and it had nothing to do with my years of experience or their lack thereof. It was simply two people sharing ideas, and one just happened to be younger. It reminded me that if I let my ego say, "Now, what could they know?" I would have left that meeting empty-handed instead of inspired and motivated. So let it be a reminder. You never know who might have the key to your next breakthrough, or the advice that saves you hours of frustration. Ego might be trying to tell you you've got everything under control, or that you shouldn't learn from someone because you're older, more established, or more successful on paper, but success at its core is about adaptability, learning, and constant evolution. Ego, if unchecked, can stifle all three. I want to thank you for walking through these reflections with me. I hope something here resonates with you and maybe gives you a nudge to ask for help when you need it, or a reminder to be open to advice from those younger or from different backgrounds as yourself. Listen, ego can be a blessing when it gives us courage, but it can also become a curse and it blocks our growth. So keep it in check, stay curious, and you'll find that there's always more to learn, more to explore, and more people worth listening to. Thank you. Love you all. I want to see you all win. Peace.